Schedule's finally lined up with Brett. We're going to bring the RNF 96 out of hibernation. And today is the day we are doing the Lost RNF 96 versus the Pisces comparison video. So this one is for Vito Seaver and effing Camo. Vito Seaver pissed off. It's been 8 months. Where's the comparison vid? Alright, cool. Well, here it is, guys. Ask and you shall receive. I'm here with Brett again. Brett was our guest for the RNF 96 review. I brought my RNF 96. Brett, what'd you bring?
We got the Pisces here. Close competitor, 5'6".
Yeah.
Black Sheep Construction.
They're close enough in size. Stock 5'7", 30.7 liters. Stock 5'6".
Stock 5'6".
It's like
I think it's
29.8 liters. Water temp is 34 right now, or 35.
Yep. And the air is nice and warm at 40.
Air is 40.
And wet.
I'm in the Excel Comp X 4.5, 3.5, which I wore it the other day and was actually surprisingly warm, so we're rocking with it. Like, this is just the epitome of the RNF line, just super clean lines. The Pisces, I think, has a little bit of a flatter rocker, right?
Yeah, there's not much rocker in it, and you got more foam under your chest. I feel the tail is almost the same as the RNF.
And that's probably why they add that wing. All right, so first session real quick. We just wanted to get our feet in the wax. We didn't get too many waves each on either. I haven't rode this board in about a year. And it just right away felt super familiar, it felt super predictable, very stable underfoot. There were a couple big sections that I hit and was not expecting to ride out and did. It's just a very predictable, stable board.
You know, for me, I think, after riding this board for a year or so now, this is a 5'6", so it's a couple inches shorter than I am. I think I probably would have been better off riding like a 5'4". I can get away with riding this in something it's a little bit smaller than what we had today.
Yeah.
I can kind of grovel on this, whereas I feel like someone your height and weight could rip this a little harder in something a little bit more critical.
For the sake of this test, we went with what we prefer fin setup. On this board, I rode it with all different style fins, everything, and this was my fin of choice. It's the JMT, which is my self-designed Twin Plus trailer set.
So I started out with a set of MR 2+1s, which are some pretty upright fins. I found on my bottom turns I was slipping out a little bit, wasn't able to hold my rail as critically as I'd like to. I tried out a set of McFanning mediums in this, which were just way too small. So going with the large McFanning has been probably the best overall performance.
Yep.
Bigger fins, bigger turns, better surfing.
We're gonna swap boards now. I'm gonna give the Pisces a go. Brett's gonna ride the RNF 96. We're gonna come back. We're gonna give you our conclusions on the main differences, some similarities. So Brett, I gotta open up with this. You know how I know you're from Florida?
How, James?
Because you said how. Watching you glide into waves, I'm like, how the heck is he catching that? That thing's not even gonna break. So that's how I know you're from Florida. I want to hear what you thought the main differences between the Pisces and the RNF 96 were.
I would say that the RNF in this case is going to be, it's only an 1/8 inch skinnier in the width, but that really makes a difference for me. There wasn't as much foam up in the nose, so it gives it more of that actual true like shortboard feel, I'd say, to it. I felt like I could kind of move my nose around a little bit quicker than I would on this board, but it almost feels like, when you're surfing and you can feel there's like a pivot point in the board. For me, it feels like the pivot point is a little bit farther back on the RNF compared to this board, where I feel like it's a little bit farther forward. Maybe it has to do with the foam.
So you want to almost surf this more front-footed and that more back-footed?
I would say so.
Okay.
What did you think?
Right away, I noticed, even being almost a full liter less in volume, this paddled so much better than that. And I think, one, it has more foam through the nose.
Definitely.
I think the Black Sheep, I've always said that's one of my favorite constructions. So like being an EPS, it floats a little bit better.
The EPS does make it a bit floaty.
But I did have this exact board in the Lightspeed, which is EPS, and it wasn't as noticeable as these two.
Same dimensions.
Same exact dimensions. Everything was the same except it was Lightspeed and this PU. This significantly paddled better. I noticed right from the get-go. The thing that I love about it being your board with the front foot pad is that I have something to blame for when I mess up a wave. So it wasn't my fault, it was the front foot pad's fault. I've never really surfed with the front foot pad, and I noticed it going backside because I think I drag my feet when I'm popping up going backside.
Yeah.
My foot was like hard to drag up the pad, but front side, like when you pop up and your foot's already where you need it to be, it was great.
Yeah, I can relate with you on that, going backside on this board. I know often when you're going backside, you'll move your front foot up and kind of point it down the wave.
Yeah.
And it can get hung up a little
bit. Yeah, especially in boots. So the biggest thing, like comparison-wise, that I would say, this is high-performance shortboard, this is skateboard.
Yeah.
To me, this felt super loose. It was really fast and fun. Great.
It is a fast board. I will say, compared to I ride a 5.5 RNF, which we've talked about in a previous episode, which I also feel like is a little skateboard under my feet. But this board gives me that same feeling, and that's probably why I gravitate towards it and love it so much.
Yeah.
Because of how maneuverable and skatey you can be.
You could almost have a quiver. This as like your step down, this is like your go-to shortboard. If you had to pick between an RNF 96 and the Pisces, what would you pick?
Between these two boards specifically?
No, like
if
say
my 5.5 was right here, I'd pick my 5.5.
And why?
Probably because I've got the most hours on that board out of any other board that I've ever surfed.
Travel, I might pick the RNF 96 going abroad for like good waves. Like if we were going back to Hawaii, I'd probably pick the RNF 96 over the Pisces. But staying East Coast or like continental US, like even California, I was just in San Diego, I'd pick the Pisces over that for like out there, over here, Florida,
Yeah, you're guaranteed to have a good time on this board.
If you guys have any questions that we did not cover, drop it in the comments. Brett will be trolling the comments as well.
Yeah, I'll be in there. You better watch out. Nobody's safe.
Thank you all for watching. Huge thank you to Morgan for filming.
Shout out Morgan Downs.
Yeah, any other questions, comments? Drop them down there. Give it a like.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.